Welcome to Chasing Curiosity TV. Subscribe and press the bell icon for more updates. The world is on edge. Tensions that have simmered for years are now boiling over, and the eyes of the globe are fixed on a single, volatile region. U.S. nuclear submarine docks in Philippines, China issues stark warning. The headlines flash across screens, echoing in capitals from Washington to Beijing. South China Sea on high alert as USS Ohio arrives. Warships bristle with activity, their crews on edge, scanning the horizon for any sign of escalation. Beijing furious over provocative U.S. military move. Chinese officials denounce the deployment, calling it a direct challenge to their sovereignty and a threat to regional peace. These headlines mark a turning point in a region already simmering with tension. For years, the South China Sea has been a powder keg, and now, the fuse seems dangerously short. It's September 27, 2025. The South China Sea, now the world's most dangerous geopolitical flashpoint. Over $3 trillion in trade passes through these waters every year, making it a lifeline for the global economy. Every ship movement, every radar ping, every diplomatic statement is scrutinized for meaning. Intelligence analysts and diplomats work around the clock, searching for signs of miscalculation or intent. Chinese Coast Guard vessels, built for intimidation, shadow Philippine fishing boats. These encounters are tense, sometimes erupting into dangerous standoffs that threaten to spiral out of control. Overhead, Chinese fighter jets roar through the sky. Their presence is a constant reminder of Beijing's military reach and its determination to assert control. But today, something new has arrived. A U.S. nuclear submarine, the USS Ohio, surfaces in Subic Bay, Philippines. Its arrival is both a show of force and a message to allies and adversaries alike. This is no routine visit. It's a calculated move in a high-stakes game between the U.S. and China. Behind closed doors, military leaders and diplomats weigh their next steps, knowing that any misstep could have global consequences. The USS Ohio's deployment is the boldest move yet in this escalating chess match. Armed with dozens of Tomahawk missiles, it represents a significant escalation in military posturing. For years, China has militarized artificial islands, claiming nearly the entire sea. Airstrips, radar stations, and missile batteries now dot these once empty reefs, turning them into unsinkable fortresses. The U.S. insists on freedom of navigation, but sending a guided missile submarine into China's backyard raises the stakes. It's a direct challenge to Beijing's claims and a signal that Washington will not back down. The message, American resolve, is unwavering. The U.S. stands with its allies, determined to keep these vital sea lanes open and free from coercion. The South China Sea is a vital artery for global trade and resources. Any conflict here would send shockwaves through the world economy, disrupting supply chains and threatening livelihoods far beyond Asia. The arrival of the USS Ohio forces the world to ask, is this the prelude to conflict or just another dangerous chapter in a long standoff? Leaders from Tokyo to Canberra, from London to Moscow are watching and weighing their responses. The answer hangs in the balance. In these uncertain waters, the next move could shape the future of the entire region, and perhaps the world. The USS Ohio is a titan of the deep, once a Cold War nuclear deterrent designed to carry intercontinental ballistic missiles and patrol the world's oceans in near total secrecy. For decades, it was a silent guardian, lurking beneath the waves, ready to respond at a moment's notice to any threat against the United States or its allies. Now, after a remarkable transformation, it has been reborn as a guided missile submarine, or SSGN, giving it a new lease on life and a new mission in a rapidly changing world. At 560 feet in length, the Ohio is a true Leviathan, one of the largest submarines ever built by the United States. It can carry up to 154 Tomahawk cruise missiles, each one capable of striking targets with pinpoint accuracy over 1,000 miles away, making it a formidable force for both deterrence and precision strike. One submarine, hidden and silent beneath the waves, can cripple enemy bases, airfields, or command centers before they even realize they're under attack. Its ability to operate undetected gives it a unique and terrifying advantage. But the Ohio is more than just a missile platform. It also supports Navy SEALs and unmanned underwater vehicles, allowing it to conduct covert special operations, gather intelligence, and perform surveillance missions deep behind enemy lines. This makes it a true multi-mission platform, adaptable to a wide range of threats. Its stealth is its greatest weapon, so when the Ohio surfaces in a place like Subic Bay, it's not just a routine maneuver. It's a deliberate and powerful public statement, meant to be seen and noticed by friend and foe alike. The U.S. Navy isn't simply resupplying its vessel. It's sending a clear and unmistakable message to Beijing and to the entire region. America is present, and it's ready to defend its interests. With the Ohio on station, the United States can project overwhelming force into the region at a moment's notice, from a platform that is nearly impossible to track or target. Its reach extends across vast distances, covering critical hotspots and contested waters. The Ohio's presence fundamentally changes the strategic calculus in the South China Sea, forcing adversaries to rethink their every move and adding a new layer of uncertainty to any potential conflict. It's a show of power, a demonstration of resolve, and a warning to those who might challenge the status quo. The silent predator has surfaced, and now the world is watching closely, aware that the balance of power can shift in an instant. In these tense waters, the stakes have never been higher, and the USS Ohio stands ready at the center of it all. Subic Bay's selection is no accident. Once the largest U.S. naval base overseas, its closure in 1992 marked a retreat. Now, the Ohio's arrival signals a return. Subic Bay's deepwater harbor offers direct access to the South China Sea, allowing rapid deployment. The U.S. can now maintain a persistent presence, monitor Chinese activities, and reassure allies like the Philippines. For Manila, long harassed by China, the Ohio's visit is a powerful sign of U.S. commitment. This isn't just symbolism, it's a tangible military reality. Subic Bay becomes a forward operating base, a launchpad for American power. The U.S.-Philippines alliance is revitalized, and the message to China is clear: the balance of power in the region is shifting. China's response is immediate and furious. Beijing denounces the Ohio's visit as a provocation, lodging formal complaints and launching a media blitz. State media paints the U.S. as an aggressor, the Philippines as a pawn. The PLA responds with snap military drills, anti-submarine warfare and maritime blockade exercises. Chinese warships and helicopters hunt for submarines, sending a direct counter-signal. This is classic Chinese crisis management: diplomatic pressure, information warfare, and military posturing. The goal: demonstrate resolve without crossing into open conflict. China wants the U.S. and its allies to feel the cost of their actions. The presence of the Ohio so close to China's coast is a direct challenge. The firestorm is not just for show, it's a reflection of real strategic anxiety. The game has changed and both sides know it. The risk of miscalculation is rising. China has spent years transforming its anti-submarine warfare. Once a weakness, it's now a growing strength, an underwater Great Wall of sensors, ships, and aircraft. Hydrophone arrays on the seabed listen for submarines. Surveillance ships and maritime patrol aircraft like the Y-8Q hunt for intruders. Surface ships and helicopters add more layers of detection and attack. The USS Ohio's deployment is a real-world test for China's new capabilities. If China can deny U.S. submarines access, it blunts America's edge. But the Ohio also gives the PLA a high-value target to practice against. The silent hunt is on, a deadly cat-and-mouse game in the deep. The outcome could reshape the balance of power. The South China Sea is a global crossroads. 1/3 of all maritime trade passes through these waters. Disruption here would send shockwaves through the world economy. The sea holds vast untapped oil and gas reserves, fueling fierce competition. China's 9-dash line claim overlaps with its neighbors, sparking constant standoffs. Militarily, the sea is a buffer for China and a test of U.S. resolve. Artificial islands become unsinkable aircraft carriers, extending Beijing's reach. For the U.S. and allies, the issue is freedom of navigation, keeping sea lanes open for all. If China controls this waterway, it sets a dangerous precedent for global choke points. The USS Ohio's deployment is a sharp reminder: the U.S. will not cede these commons. The stakes are economic, strategic, and global. The dangers are real. History proves it. In 2001, a U.S. surveillance plane collided with a Chinese jet over the South China Sea. The Chinese pilot died, the U.S. crew was detained, sparking an 11-day crisis. The world watched as two nuclear powers faced off over a single accident. The lesson: routine encounters can spiral out of control. Today, the risks are even higher. Submarines, warships, and new technology raise the stakes. A misinterpreted sonar ping or aggressive maneuver could trigger escalation. Communication is murky, and national pride is at stake. The ghosts of Hainan Island warn us: the margin for error is razor thin. The USS Ohio operates in a crowded, contested sea. One mistake could ignite a crisis no one wants. The South China Sea is now a high-stakes game of chicken. The U.S. asserts its right to operate. China defends its claims. Neither side can back down without losing face. The risk: accidental escalation. Imagine a Chinese frigate aggressively tracking the Ohio, One wrong move, and conflict could erupt in minutes. Proxy confrontations are likely, especially between China and the Philippines. A blockade or clash could force the US to respond under its defense treaty. A small incident could trigger a chain reaction, spiraling out of control. Both sides have complex war plans and automated responses. The action-reaction cycle pushes them closer to catastrophe. The world watches, hoping cooler heads prevail. The deployment of the USS Ohio is not just a fleeting moment of crisis, it represents a significant snapshot of a new era in global military dynamics. This powerful submarine gliding through the ocean symbolizes the shifting tides of international relations and the growing tensions that define our current geopolitical landscape. The United States and China find themselves locked in a relentless and grinding competition, with the South China Sea emerging as the primary stage for this high-stakes drama. This region, rich in resources and strategic importance, has become a focal point for both nations as they vie for influence and control. The most likely future scenario is a tense and uneasy stalemate, where both sides continuously test each other's limits, yet carefully avoid the outbreak of open war. This delicate balance requires constant vigilance and strategic maneuvering. Close calls and heightened tension will become the new normal, with military forces on high alert and ready to respond at a moment's notice. The skies and seas will be filled with the hum of activity as nations prepare for any eventuality. A more hopeful path involves the establishment of new crisis management guardrails, effective communication channels and protocols designed to prevent accidents and misunderstandings. These measures could serve as a buffer against potential conflicts. However, trust remains scarce and the risk of miscalculation is ever present. The slightest error or misjudgment could escalate into a larger conflict, making vigilance and diplomacy crucial. The most dangerous future scenario involves a slow slide into conflict, potentially sparked by a clash over a disputed reef or a crisis involving Taiwan. Such incidents could quickly spiral out of control, leading to devastating consequences. The stakes are undeniably global. Any war in this region would not only devastate the local area, but also have far-reaching impacts on the entire world, affecting economies and societies everywhere. The USS Ohio has now slipped beneath the waves, its presence no longer visible, yet its impact and the message it carries continue to linger in the minds of global leaders and military strategists. The world waits in a state of uncertainty as the balance of power shifts in the deep. Nations watch closely, aware that the decisions made today will shape the future of international relations and peace.